Okay. We are recording. Let me make sure. Okay, I'm going to start all over if you don't mind. So Esther Knox-DeKoning is the lead designer and creative director behind Sereth Design. She has 8 years of design experience, 4 of which she spent working in large advertising agencies, 1 at a global nonprofit, and the last 3 building Sereth Design. Esther started Sereth Design with the intention to take her talents and experience to support small to medium-sized businesses that were changing the world. Through Sereth Design, Esther is honored to work with entrepreneurs, social enterprises, and mission-driven brands all over the world to tell their stories, and spearhead social impact. She finds it incredibly powerful to bridge the gap between culture and design and tell unique tales of lives lived to evoke emotion and connect people across cultures and landscapes. It is my pleasure to welcome Esther Knox-DeKoning. So Esther, I'm going to stop my share and let you share your PowerPoint today.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here with you guys today. This is a very special moment too, because I live in Berwyn. I live right around the corner from your shops, quite like literally 5-minute walk. So it's very cool to be connecting with you guys. And I've met some of you at the WBDC conference. So I'm really excited to be sharing with you. Let me see. Are you able to see my full screen? Yes.
Yes, all good.
Awesome. Well, today I'm going to be talking to you guys about mastering the art of social media marketing. I know social media is not new to anybody. There is so much more to it than just opening up your phone and posting, though. It's really an art form and it takes a lot of time to learn and be really, really good at it. But don't worry, we're going to learn all of it together. I'm going to show you some strategies for how to grow your business and how to really succeed. So as I mentioned in the chat, if you want to follow me on social platforms, you can do that on Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, and find my website as well. And then if you have any questions throughout the presentation, just drop those in the chat. And then if I don't get through it through the presentation, we'll have some time at the end to talk about it. Sound good? So let's start by sharing a little bit about me. So like Felicitas said, I have 8 years of experience in marketing and design. I studied advertising with a focus in design in university, and then I've worked in a lot of different spaces. I've also worked with lots of different types of company, from Fortune 500 companies, really large companies. Of course, that was when I worked in advertising. And I've also worked with really boutique shops like yours. And my big focus is to help people to tell their stories and use their branding to communicate their offerings so that they can actually bring growth to their business and drive success and drive their sales. So I've also seen companies succeed and fail due to how they're approaching their marketing, specifically social media marketing. So today we are going to talk about 5 different things. We're going to talk about social media and the landscape today, what it looks like, how to create a content strategy, how to then develop and actually share your content, how to know how you're doing, like, are you actually successful in what you're doing? And then also some tangible next steps for you to take. So as you go through, again, keep in mind that this is a learning process. Social media continuously evolves, so we're always learning as we go. And I'm not the perfect social media person. Nobody is. Even if you see somebody who has 1 million followers, they're still learning and they're still experimenting as they go. But let's dive in. So why is social media marketing a non-negotiable for small businesses? Honestly, because everybody gets everything online. People are checking their phone constantly. I know I check my phone constantly. I wish that I didn't when I wake up, but I do. And that's kind of just the reality of it. I spend time looking at what my friends are doing. I'm checking out new restaurants, new shops, new products, and there's so many people online. So you really just have to meet them where they are. There's only so much that referral base can do, or your local market, especially I know right now you're in a space where you want to be selling to people around your area, but with the online market, you can really be able to sell to everywhere around the world with social media. So the role of social media for business is, of course, advertising, to promote your content, to engage with your customers and your followers, really building your brand awareness, and then ultimately driving sales, because that's kind of why you're in business in the first place, is to monetize what you're offering. But social media is also a place for connection, to share information, to communicate, have the self-expression, to entertain people and build community. It's a place where people are sharing insights and supporting each other and learning alongside of each other. And you know this if you have your own personal side of social media where you're sharing your own personal life. So there's a really cool dichotomy where you can be in to really make your business stand out. It's merging the business side of social media with the personal side. It's really powerful and dynamic. And there's a lot of ways that you can really push your personality while advertising, while driving sales, and reaching the masses. So the benefits of developing a strong social media presence are, of course, to increase brand awareness. So people know you, they recognize you, and they care about you. They're going to want to follow you along for every single step of the journey. Right now, you're in Berwyn shops, but next year, you're going to be somewhere else. So you want people to be able to follow along. So you also want them to generate leads and boost conversions, of course, more sales. Fostering relationships with your customers and building a really loyal fan base. We call it like this cult-like following. So people want to follow you along. They want to be part of your family. And then another benefit is to learn from competitors. What are people like you in your business doing across the board? The good and the bad, following along for how they could improve and where you can step in. And social media really fosters relationships to build trust, community, loyalty, and connections. I think those are really the foundation of social media. Of course, we can talk all about the statistics and the numbers, but ultimately you want to build the trust, community, loyalty, and connections. So people really want to buy from you and they want to purchase what you have to offer. Okay, so how do you actually do it though? That's kind of why you're here, right? You're probably wondering, all right, I know all of these things, I know why it's really important, but I don't know how to actually set it up or continue to grow my social media. So there's two different sides to this. It's creating a content strategy. We're going to talk about defining your goals, knowing your audience, choosing the right platforms, getting to know your competition. This is really the foundation of social media before you get into developing your content, which is developing the content plan, creating and optimizing your content, actually filming or taking photos or sharing or knowing how to share, implementing a posting schedule, and then engaging with your audience. There's these two sides and one cannot live without the other. You can't develop the content without a good content strategy and expect good results. You also can't create a great strategy and not do anything with your strategy. Otherwise, again, what's the whole point? You've wasted time. So let's just talk about all of these different aspects of it. Creating a content strategy. Again, like I said, this is really the foundation of everything. You want to make sure that your foundation is really strong so that no matter where you go, it's going to propel you to the next level. So you're already going to have a base and you know exactly who you are and what you do. So number one is defining specific goals. You want to start by identifying your objectives. What do you even want to achieve with your social media marketing? Some of us get into social media or we've started our business. I did this when I first started Sereth Design. I just kind of wanted to put stuff out there so that people were could see something, but I didn't take time to really think through, I actually really want people to know who I am. So I want to increase my brand awareness, or I want to push people to my website. So maybe you're in this place where you've just been putting things on there, but you don't have any idea of what you want to achieve. So think about the goals that you want to achieve. Again, do you want to increase your brand awareness? Do you want to drive your website traffic, generate leads, or boost your sales? Or maybe it's something aside from that. Maybe you want people to come to your store. Maybe you want to have more likes on your Instagram. I mean, there's so many different aspects of it, but really think through what are the goals that you personally want to achieve. And there's many of you that are in this call, but maybe your goal is going to be different from the person at the shop next to you. Then we want to get to know your target audience. This is really important to understand what the demographics are, what their interests, behaviors, and pain points are. And this is going to help you tailor your content to really resonate with your audience. So again, your audience is going to be different from somebody else's. But once you know who you're talking to, it makes it so much easier to create content that they're going to respond to and engage with. Somebody might have somebody's business might be more targeted toward a male audience or a female audience, or maybe they're more targeted towards millennials versus Gen Z, or maybe you want a certain cultural demographic. It's really important to understand what that is and lay it out. So I always like to use this buyer persona. We think about the age, the gender, where they're at, their location, their job, what social media channels they're on, what their goals are, their pain points, and then some psychographics. So what makes them them? What might they be doing at this very moment? What are they interested in? What are their hobbies, and what brings them joy? So I like to do this for all of my clients and for myself when I'm starting to think of who am I actually trying to sell to? So I've created an example for you guys so you can get an idea of how this looks. So this is an example for a skincare company. This example I'm using as Lauren. She is 34 years old. She's female. She lives in Chicago. She's a hairdresser. She uses Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest. And her goals right now are to cultivate a clean wellness routine. Her pain points, she has a lack of awareness. She feels lost in what kind of products are out there and what even makes one better than another. And she also really wants to shop local. So some psychographics. This is where you can start writing something down, and it can just be an imaginary person. This really just helps you when you're creating your content to think about Lauren or think about your person. So the psychographics I have written are: Lauren is an avid gardener. She loves going on walks with her dogs, cooking delicious and healthy meals. She loves beauty, and that's why she got into being a hairdresser. She's trying to build a clean living lifestyle for herself, but she is struggling to find the knowledge she needs to transform her routines. She has been recently looking for skincare products to be more clean products, and she wants to find local businesses that she can support. So a buyer persona, again, is just going to help you really think about this person as you're creating your content. So anytime you take a video or you take a photo or you write something, think about your Lauren. Think about like your friend or this person who you want to be attracting. So you're not just talking to everybody. From there, we choose the right platforms, because now that you know who you're talking to, you can decide what social media platforms are going to be most relevant to them. So we've already thought through Lauren. She's on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest. That's where you're going to want to live then. You'll want to focus your efforts on platforms where your audience is active and ditch the ones they're not, because it can be so much time, very time consuming to be on Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, every single thing. And it's also very exhausting. And take it from me, I've tried everything and I've tried to figure out what my area is, because it doesn't make sense to be creating a million different pieces of content. You only have so much time. You're in your shop half the time as well, and you're also creating your products. So there's no time to do literally everything. So choosing the right platforms is really important. And again, using your audience profile to do that. And if you want to expand from your audience profile and try out a few different ones, that's okay too. I just would recommend not doing every single piece because, again, time consuming. And then also you want to get to know your competition. So this is where you're going to want to follow or look at people who are in the same industry as you. Analyze what they're doing. What are they doing well and what are they doing not so well? A good place to start is to look at people who are larger businesses who probably sell a couple $1 million worth of product, or they have a really high following and engagement. What are they doing really well? Are they posting a lot of product shots? Are they doing a lot of interviews? What is their method? So writing down what works for them is great. And then you can also go through the comments and see where people are having pain points. Are people not seeing them responding well to a certain post? It really looking at what the customers are seeing is going to help you provide very valuable insights into your own strategy. So again, what do customers like and dislike about them? How can you aim to solve those pain points? And then what types of content are they posting? And is it working for them? Continuously follow up on what your competitors are doing so that you can not copy them, but use them as inspiration. And one other thing I want to mention while you're looking at your competition is really take a step back and don't see them as like, oh, I have to outperform them. It's really just a tool to take a look and see, because not one person is necessarily better than the other. It can really get easy to have the comparison mindset and then get bogged down and not even want to create anything. But it is just a way to, again, take an idea of everything that people are doing. So once you have this strategy down, once you've written down a few different things, you can now get into developing and actually sharing the content, getting the eyeballs on your work. We're going to talk about developing a content plan. So the first part of this is to start with an understanding of the types of content to create under, the pillars of content. A content pillar is a specific topic or a theme on which similar content pieces are built. They help you achieve a specific business goal, and it really helps you create streamlined content to provide consistency with your brand message and hit on different areas of social media. Content pillars include viral or trend content. So that's content that gets really high views. Maybe this is it's Reels, TikToks. It has a lot of music to it. So yeah, trending audio, things that are shareable, memes, and quotes. So that's one pillar. The second pillar is going to be relationship building content, ones that convert new followers, strengthen your relationship with your existing followers, and add value to their lives. So you really want to build that humanity aspect to it, showing your face, showing behind the scenes, talking to the camera, showing your personality, what your team is doing, things that are happening in your industry. It's providing that personal connection that people can say, oh, you don't just sell candles. It's Ari who sells candles. So they know exactly who it is. And then the last pillar is conversion content. So content that converts your followers into customers. So this is going to be your customer reviews, user-generated content. Maybe you have a little bit of budget to bring in influencers, or finding friends who are using your products and sharing their content, giveaways and sales, and then actual products. So that's what's going to convert. So the pillars are these high level, again, they're pillars where content types are going to go under. So the content types are going to be a variety of different things you share. So it could be text, could be images, text and images, videos, so Reels, TikToks, YouTube, blog posts that would go on your website, or long form content that you can share, infographics, user-generated content, and the list goes on. There's a lot of different content types that you can play with. And the idea here is to use a mixture of those in these content pillars that we said. So you want to have text, video, and photos under viral trend content. You'll want to have blog posts, Reels, and photos under relationship building content, and so on, because that will create a really wide variety. So if you think about what's listed here, there are 6 different types of content, and you have 3 different pillars. So you then have 18 different types of content you can share, and then continuously recycle through those so that you're creating a wide variety of ideas and ways to connect with people. Then you'll get into actually creating the content and optimizing it. So while you're creating, remember to create high quality, engaging content that really aligns with your brand. So go back to your Lauren. What is she going to want to see? Is it going to appeal to her or others within your target audience? As you take your photos and your videos, you want to optimize your content for each social media platform. So some platforms are vertical and some are horizontal. So you want to consider image sizes. Also, when you get into the text, think about character limits and also posting schedules we'll talk about in a minute. And you might be thinking, okay, well, that's a lot. There's so many things to create. I get it. What I like to do, my recommendation is to batch your content days. There's so much to do. It can feel very overwhelming creating content every single day. Like if you're in your shop and you don't want to be taking videos every moment of the day, working in batches is often the best strategy. So this could look like one full day of content creating every few weeks, and then you spread that content across over time. Or maybe you do half a day once a week, or a few hours. That way you can get a ton of video content, a ton of photo content, spend your time writing, you'll be in the zone, and you don't have to step out of what you're doing to do something new. So once you have all of your content, think about a posting schedule. The important thing to remember here is consistency is key in social media marketing. You want to be consistent so people know when you're going to show up and that you are going to show up. So determine how often you're going to post on each platform and at what times you're going to. If you're going to post 1 time a week versus 7, that's okay. It doesn't necessarily matter how many times you do. Although, of course, the more you post, the better the algorithm likes you. But if you want to just post 1 time a week, be consistent in that 1 time a week. Say, I'm going to post on Mondays at 12 p.m. and everybody will know, all right, that's exactly when she posts. So that way, again, the algorithm gets used to you, it trusts you, it knows that you're doing what you say you're doing, and people also will see the same thing. For some platforms like Pinterest, Instagram, and YouTube, it's not always about the quantity, but more about the quality. So you'll want to post a little bit less, but post really, really high quality content. For platforms like TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter, more or less perfect content performs better. Instagram also kind of floats in this as well. It's kind of a best of both worlds. But then use tools like Buffer, Hootsuite that will help you schedule your posts in advance. So you're not going to be having to be on your phone 24/7, constantly looking at your screen. If you set up those tools, it will just automatically post and you can spend more time back in your business or creating your product so that, yeah, again, you're not having to look at your phone always. It's also really bad for your eyes. Okay, then the last is to engage with your audience to create really meaningful connections. So building relationships is the name of the game. When you foster genuine connections with people, they want to trust you. They are going to be loyal to your business. They're going to care about what you're saying. They're going to come back and purchase products over and over again, or they'll refer friends so that they come to you. You want to do this by responding to comments, messages, and mentions as quickly as you can, and engaging conversations to build relationships with your followers. So finding them in the DMs, messaging with people in their comment sections, encouraging user-generated content by, you could run contests, or you could say, hey, anybody share a video with me, and you could potentially win something. That way you also gain more content, you can collect that and share that on your own. This also just really involves your audience and makes them feel like they're part of your journey and part of your brand story. So how do we measure success? Measuring success is really important to knowing if what you've created, what you've been doing is actually working. So what you're going to want to do is track your social media metrics. That's going to give you really tangible insights into the effectiveness of what you've been creating, all of your efforts. So you can see what actually resonates most with your audience and drives engagement. So are people commenting or posting or sharing your reels most? Are they purchasing through when you share sales? Which parts are they actually connecting to most? There's a lot of different ways that you can track these metrics, but think about the engagement, reach, clicks, sentiment. Sentiment is just how well your business is liked, impressions, views, etc. There's a lot of different things to track. You don't have to track every single one of these, but choose 3, 4, 5 of them to actually write down. Maybe it's in a spreadsheet, or you're old-fashioned and you have a piece of paper that you want to write it in. Write down those numbers so that you can follow them along as your business grows and as you continue your social media efforts. One thing to know is that social media numbers don't just jump right away. So tomorrow, even if you post a viral trend video, it might not be actually viral. It might not hit that many eyes. It's okay. Stay at it and things will happen. It's every few times you post, the algorithm sees you more, and then it likes to give you a little bit of a jolt. Yes, of course, we see sometimes where people just go viral and their business shoots up like crazy. That's luck, and you can't bank on that happening. You really need the consistency to it. Once you track your strategy, or once you track your social metrics, then you can adjust your strategy based on those results. So use analytic tools provided by social media platforms. Like if you're on Instagram, you can click on View Insights and you can see exactly how many people looked at your profile from your post. You can look at how many people went to your website through your post. And then if you're on your website, Pinterest, TikTok, they also have different analytics tools there. You can use Google Analytics or other social media management tools to track your performance. Almost every single social media platform has their own analytics. So make sure to take a look at that and get really familiar with it, because you want to know if your numbers are dipping. If your numbers are dipping, that means you're probably going to need to switch up what you're doing. And it's okay to switch things up. It's okay to try and fail. Just keep experimenting until you find a solution that works. And once it works, stick with it. Okay, now what? That was a lot. There's so many things to think about as you're creating your social media. What I recommend to do is to start somewhere. It can seem really overwhelming, but you just need to have one action to get the ball rolling. Maybe you're already doing this really well, so start to think about how you can take a step back and set a better strategy to go forward. But here's some ideas. So if you have a little bit of less time, maybe just 1 hour, just go stalk your competition. Write down what they're doing well or not so well. You could analyze your analytics and write down some numbers, or you could create an audience persona. Think about those, like the small steps that you can do, and tackle those first. If you have a little bit of more time, 2 hours, 3 hours, or a whole day, decide on what types of content pillars you want to focus on and write a list of potential ideas of what you want to do. And be specific about the type of video you want to shoot, the type of photo you want to take, the type of content you want to write. That will be really helpful so that you can just knock things out when you actually get to your full day of batching. You can create a batch of social media templates so you're ready to start posting more regularly. That can be on Canva. You can design your content, your templates on Canva, so you have a cohesive brand that's going to look really good when you post 8 different things right next to each other. So again, just start somewhere. Don't get too overwhelmed. Also, don't try to take on too many things at one time. Just do one step and it will lead to the next. Some takeaways is to remember these things. Social media is really, really, really powerful. It is a great tool to increase your brand's visibility and reach a large audience, larger than just where you're living. Always consider your audience and your competition when you're creating for social media, so that you can be really informed on the decisions you make. And then experiment and have fun with it. It's supposed to be fun. Remember at the beginning, I talked about merging the personal with the business. That's really going to help you shine and build meaningful relationships. So having fun with it is really going to just elevate that. And I always tell people, just keep swimming, just keep doing it. We're continuously learning as we go. Everybody's working on this together, and we're all learning as things pop up. There's new tools and there's new trends. Just keep going. It's worth it. If you have any need for support, you can work with Sereth Design if you're interested. For social media, we can help you with an in-depth social media audit, social content planning, template design, ongoing management, and then beyond social media, brand design, web design, sales campaign planning, newsletter creation, and the list goes on. You can always reach out to me. But I hope that was really helpful and in depth to talk about what it looks like to create social media, the strategic side of it, and the actual content creating side of it. And that's all I have for you. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, I think we have some questions in chat. So let me pull those up real quick. Okay, so our first question is, how often do you recommend reviewing the analytics?
Okay, I recommend reviewing your analytics at least once a week. I like to take some time out of my week to just write down numbers. I don't necessarily do an in-depth look at it. I write down the numbers every week, and then perhaps I would say about once a month to actually sit down and look at how things have gone throughout the month, because some weeks might be high and some weeks might be low. So just taking the numbers down every week and then reviewing them about once a month.
Okay. Do you ever review your customer persona? Do you recommend that?
Yeah, I review my customer persona probably 3 times a year, just to make sure things are still going well, because your audience might change a little bit. Maybe you found a new niche. So definitely review your audience persona regularly. Again, 2-3 times a year is good. You don't have to be reviewing it every week or every month, but it is a good place to go back to if you're having a hard time creating content, taking a look at your audience persona then.
Okay, and then making adjustments to your strategy.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do we have any more questions? You can go ahead and put them in the chat box, or simply unmute and ask your question just to Esther.
Hi, Esther. This is Avelia. Sorry, I'm a
Hi.
little under the weather still. I just had a question and wanted to get your input on the user persona, right? Because oftentimes when we create these are our own assumptions of this person. Like if we're not actively doing customer interviews, we're just assuming, right? Which is a great place to start. But as an expert, what do you recommend we do on social media to test these assumptions about our customers to either validate what we are assuming or adjusting?
That's a great question. So you are absolutely right. These are assumptions, and it's really it's a practice and it's a tool to kind of see, but it's not hard and fast. Like I'm going to go back to the slide where I had written down for her. Of course, you're not going to just assume every single one of your clients is a gardener and post gardening content. I would recommend just thinking about thinking it's kind of generalized a little bit when you actually get to creating. So when you think about like the lack of awareness, you can create content that will show her a information of what a clean product is or a not clean product, and give those kind of tools and share that kind of content to experiment a little bit and see if it's working. And I think that helps. If you think about like her pain points is she wants to shop local, but she doesn't know. And of course, that's your assumption. Maybe sharing content about shopping local. You don't have to get super nitty gritty of the psychographics. The psychographics are your assumption, and you can play around. And of course, when you think about like your age and gender too, it's more of thinking of the content that age and gender would respond to, like the things that you're seeing out in the world and experimenting from there. It's really hard to look at your buyer persona and create exact content that you can test. But I think just creating content that will fall into it a little bit will help. Does that answer your question? It's really hard to actually test social media. But another way you can do it, is A/B testing, which is creating one content, the same idea, but creating it in a couple of different ways and see what is resonated with more. Does that answer your question?
That makes sense. And I was also just wondering if there's any other like tactics that you use, like on stories, like that you've seen work, like polls or interviews, or like just other ways, again, to engage with them, but at the same time getting the answers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. So that is one thing that I love testing is polls versus questions versus like the tap through links. That is something that you should definitely do and track those analytics. So we were talking about reviewing analytics weekly. For those specific ones, I would review daily. So if you post a poll today and you get a lot of response, write that down. If you post a question tomorrow and you didn't get that much response, write that down. And also write down the type of questions that you're posing. Are you asking like what types of, or are you sharing how-tos? Are you sharing actionable content? What types of things there? And then write down exactly what's working well. Definitely, somebody said in the content, people sending out surveys, that's helpful. You can use your Instagram polls to do that, or you could send out a type form or some other form for people to see what content they're resonating with a lot. I've also seen people post, and this is usually small businesses, so like us, people post on their stories, like, what type of content do you want me to show? And that helps you narrow down a little bit of what you're sharing with people, especially if people do respond well to that. Did you have another question there?
Any other questions? I love the idea of the survey. Big survey. At the WBDC, we send out surveys all the time because it's a great way of knowing what your audience is thinking or needing.
Yeah, and And also with the surveys, sometimes people don't really want to fill out surveys. It's very time consuming for people. You could attach a giveaway to it or some incentive to it that actually makes them want to fill it out. Also make it really simple so that way that they will want to because yeah, it's great to collect all of that content for sure.
Absolutely. I think a survey should be no more than 5 questions.
Yes,
And
I
then
think
follow up
that's great.
after that. But I love the idea of a little giveaway or,
Yeah.
collateral, whatever that could be at the end. Great point.
Sav is
One more
asking,
question.
is posting specific times and days actually true? That's a loaded question because it's not true, but it's not true. It's not what's not true is like, oh, you have to post exactly from 9 to 10 to get your exact audience, or 11:30. Like that's not actually accurate. There is a little bit of a truth in that people are spending more time on social media on the weekends when they have like more time to just chill, or at nights. There is truth to that, but with the algorithms, they're not necessarily showing you the content right away, right? I'm sure you guys have seen with TikTok, with Instagram, if you're going on, you might be seeing stuff from a couple of days ago. And it's really just the algorithm showing you what other people are liking. So the times are, give it or like take it or leave it. Don't like be so strict to the exact times, because again, they're not really that exact, because they're not showing you what people are posting in that exact moment. What platforms do I recommend for surveys? Typeform is great. I love Typeform. It's a really user-friendly system, and it's really easy to set up. Google Form is also totally fine, especially in small businesses, because it's free. Definitely Google is great. I like Typeform though, that's my favorite.
Do you have any platforms to suggest, Esther, that are no cost or low cost to help you schedule your posts or your content?
Yes, Planoly. I'm gonna write it in chat. This one is my go-to for Instagram and Facebook. And then Hootsuite has a free option. It's a little bit like there's not as much in it, but that is really great. And then Tailwind is great for Pinterest, and there's a free option too. Most platforms now are paid, but there are free options that are a little bit they're still helpful.
That would be a great way to test which platform works for your business, your needs. Yeah, great. Thank you for that. Any other questions from the audience? Now's your chance. Okay, here's one. Thoughts on Facebook groups for engagement?
This is a good place to meet different people that are outside of your demographic. I think that I've gotten some value out of Facebook groups, and I know some of my clients have gotten value out of Facebook groups too. The one thing that I would just be wary of is that they can be very time consuming and time sucking if you're going through a lot of posts and trying to comment on everything. But I think they are really great if you become an active member in 1 or 2 Facebook groups, just to help boost the engagement a little bit and also get some eyes on you.
Very good. Thank you for that. Let's see what else we have. Okay. I don't see. Oh, here's one more.
Creating a Facebook group for your brand. A group is great. Definitely a group is really helpful if you can get people in there, because then you can sell a lot easier in your particular group. You could also direct them to a newsletter from your Facebook group. Having a group is great. Having a page is great as well, but I think a group is really helpful because it does help you target them a lot easier. You struggle in creating the content. Okay, that's something I want to talk about too, because you don't have to create new content for Facebook, your Facebook group. You can just share the same content that you're sharing on your other social media platforms and repurpose it a little bit. So maybe write a tiny bit more or share a photo instead of a video. That way you can still create engagement in your groups and not have to reinvent the wheel at all. But a Facebook group is really, really good because you can, that's exactly where you can share like a niche amount of content and connect with people a lot easier than just shouting it out. But yeah, when you create content, repurpose it. Like it's so time consuming to be creating content for every single platform. Just repackage it in a different way because you've probably already created really powerful content that you don't need to like redo it.
Okay. All right. It doesn't look like we have any more questions, but I'm sure that questions will pop up as you start creating new content, as you start creating your customer persona and posting on your social media channels. So Esther, do you want to put up your contact information one more time? And I
Yes.
will have a link to this recording and share Esther's contact information as well there. There we go.
Another thing that I wanted to share before we hop off is I want to talk a little bit about paid advertising. There's so much that you can do without having to pay for anything, of course. But if you wanted to expand your reach a little bit, doing a couple of dollars here and there for Instagram or Facebook ads is a good way to test, especially because those ads have options where you can put exact demographics. You can put the age, you can put the gender, you can put their location. And see. So you could do, again, we call it A/B testing. So do the exact same content for one audience and do it again for another audience and see which one performs better. That is if you're using paid advertising. I wouldn't spend $1 million on paid advertising as a small business, but if you want to spend a few here and there, I think that that can be a really powerful way to reach an audience that you haven't already reached yet.
So Esther, do you think starting out with maybe a budget of $10, $20, that'll be impactful?
Yeah, I think that that would be very impactful. So sit down and think about what you want your budget to be for the quarter. So for 3 months, how much you want to spend. So maybe you want to spend $100 total over 3 months, and then you can spread that out. Or if you only want to spend 50, you can spread that out as well, just to kind of dip your toes into it and see how things go. If it goes really well, maybe you want to spend a little bit more. So yeah, definitely just a couple of dollars, $10, $20 is good.
Good. Very good. Thank you so much, Esther, for taking time out today and sharing great information for our Berwyn Shops vendors. I'm going to give everyone back a little bit of time left today. But like I said, the recording will be sent out later this afternoon and a follow-up. If you need assistance, you have any questions, need some support, please reach out to Esther over at Sereth Designs.
Yes.
Okay, so
Thank
thank you again. Have a great day, everyone. Have a weekend's almost here, and definitely we'll see you next month for the 7th workshop for our Berwyn Shops. And next month we will be talking about business model canvas and creating a business plan. All right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.